Hello and welcome back to Mondays with Melissa. I'm so excited to be here. Happy New Year, everybody. It is 2021, and I would love to know what are some maybe goals that you set for the new year, maybe some resolutions, maybe some things you really want to see happen this year. What are those for you? And I want to encourage you to dream big. I think a lot of times we get caught up in our little world and we get so busy taking care of all of the things and all of the people that maybe we forget our dreams. And so I want to encourage you this year to put your dreams back on the shelf. Take them off the shelf and do something each day to step you closer to your dreams because they matter. You have them for a reason. So without further ado, I want to dive in and I want to talk about something that I see a lot in my clients, not only with food, but also in other areas of life, because I learned in my coaching training, how you do one thing is how you do most things. And if you step back and you assess everything, I find it to be true. I found it to be true for myself and for the women that I work with. So we're going to talk today about honoring your yes and your no. And it's really great to want to help others out, and I love that about you, but I think we also have to check and see whether we're chronically saying yes to other people's agendas without making much forward movement on our own. And so this kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning about take your dreams out, put them out here so that you can take movement on your dreams and your desires too, and not chronically say yes to other people's while pushing yours back, okay? So I'd love to know if you tend to say yes to a lot of requests from others or if you have a healthy no practice currently in place. For me, I didn't have a healthy no practice in place for a while, and it led to me being frustrated and overwhelmed, and that turned into bitterness and resentment and wasn't a good place to be. So I always encourage people to have a healthy no place in process. And so what does that look like? It really looks like honoring your yes and your no and knowing what your priorities are, what your commitments are, what you're capable of, what you have the energy and the bandwidth for, and really honoring that. And so what are some things that you can do? Maybe it looks like making a list of all of your commitments and all the things that are required of you. And then maybe sorting through the list and figuring out which of these things you could maybe say no to, which are non-negotiable. I love the saying that you are replaceable at your job, but you're not replaceable at your house. You're the only mom your kids will have. You're the only wife your husband will have. You're the only daughter your parents will have. You're not replaceable in those roles, but you are in work. So just remember where your priorities lie and what your desires are. And I wonder what activities or events you might be able to say yes to from that place of knowing your priorities, what's important to you, your commitments. It's much better to say yes from that place rather than a place of feeling like you need to be needed or there's nothing else for you to do. So you're saying yes from that place. We want to have you saying yes from a healthy place of knowing who you are and where you're headed in life, okay? So I wonder what it would look like to pause in between requests. I think so many times we'll just jump on the spot and say, yeah, I can do that. And then I know for me, I would do that and then I would become bitter and resentful and frustrated. So what can you do to not do that? But if you practice to pause and you really said, you know what, thank you for thinking of me, I'll get back to you. Go home, check your calendar, check your family schedule, check with whatever you need to do, and see if you can come to that yes from a place of it being in alignment. Okay? So we want to have a pause in between their request and your response. Because you want to be able to assess your priorities and determine whether your request is moving you towards them or away from them. Because when we say yes to something, we're automatically saying no to something else. And yet the opposite is true. Whenever we say no to something, we're creating the space to say yes to something else. So think about your main goals. What are you here for? What is your purpose? What is your plan? Make sure that you're coming from that place, okay? So I have a handout for you called Honoring Your Yes and Your No, and I want you to write your top 5 priorities on the top of the handout and go through your calendar and mark the activities that support your top 5, as well as the ones that don't support your top 5. So go ahead and take the time to do that. If you want to shoot me an email, let me know your results. That'd be great. But I'd love to know what came up for you during this exercise. Were there activities that didn't support your priorities? And if that's the case, would you commit to canceling them in the next 24 hours? What feelings or sensations come up for you when you think of removing these activities? And what will that allow you the space to do instead? So that's your assignment, my friends. I will include the link to that handout for you. Also, if you are interested in getting a guide on crushing your New Year's goals, I will put that in the show notes for you to access as well. But my goal for you is to be happy, healthy, and free to be who you're made to be. That's why my business is Free to Be Coaching. That's why I show up and I help women break free from sugar and stress eating, because I know that stuff weighs us down. Got to clear out our hearts and our minds in order for us to walk in that freedom and that fullness to be all we're created to be. So until next time, have a beautiful day. Honor your yes and your no, and be true to yourself. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.